Hello everybody and welcome back to Creativity Time. My name is Tatiana. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, and today we will be playing with the brand new paper florist dies. When I saw the annual catalogue for this year and saw these dies, I couldn't wait to get them. So my order with them finally arrived and I haven't had a chance to play, so I thought today would be the perfect day to play. So let's flip and I'll tell you a little bit about these dies first. So you will find them on page 165 of the annual catalogue. They're right here. That gives you an idea of what the dies look like as cutouts. And I did spot some samples across the catalogue with them. I can't remember which pages, so I'm not going to point them out. But basically, it's a standalone die, no coordinating stamp set. This means that you can use whatever sayings or stamp sets that you would like. And it doesn't have to be just cards. You can create a 3D project. Isn't that fun? So we have all these different flower bits. And I love these ones, the fact that they're not symmetrical, but then these ones are symmetrical and you can layer them on top of each other. So let's get die cutting. So for that, we can start exploring and trying out. So this is what I was talking about. It die cuts a little fringe and you can roll that up. So before we roll that up, this cardstock is quite thick, so we just want it to soften a little bit. And to do that, we use the bone folder. So that is a very essential paper crafting tool. I'm going to show you that first thing, how to do that. Just going to pop all these out first. There we go. That's all popped out now. And so I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to use it to curl the paper one way, and then I'm going to curl the paper, the cardstock should I say, the other way, and then go back the first way as well. And that softens all the fibers in the cardstock and makes it so much more flexible. So this one you can see is moving a little bit more easier compared to this one, which we haven't. And then what you do is you roll this one up. Do you know how to start it off without, oh, I know. You take the pointy end of, you take your pick tool and start rolling it on that. And that gives you that good starting point. There, and you roll, and you can cut it off if you want it a smaller, or keep rolling for the whole thing. I'm not sticking anything or gluing anything down just yet, so that we can work out what we want to do. But then you spike them out and you've got this fun fringed center. So I'm going to unroll that and soften, because we'll see what we want. We might want just half of that because that was quite thick. I'm just softening the fibers, breaking down the fibers essentially like that. So we have all these exciting bits and pieces, and these ones have, so this was this big die here, cuts out 3 petals, but they have a slot, so that allows you to stick the flowers if you wanted to. You could fold those ends over each other, and then it becomes like a little cup, and it's a 3D flower. And keep adding the petals together. So that's that fun one. So I definitely want to do that. So I'm going to grab all my fresh freesia pieces. I don't know how many we'll want. We've got 6. And I'm going to grab, hello Joan. It's a bit of an experimental live. I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm going to grab a darker purple, which would be a gorgeous grape, and I'm going to take a blending brush. I'm going to ink blend on the tips of these petals to give them some extra color and texture, I guess. You could also blend from the middle and have the tips lighter. We might do that with the bubble bath ones, just for some variety, hey? Don't know how many petals. Experiments are always good. Thank you, Joan. I think so too. How else are we going to discover how to create with these wonderful products if we don't experiment a little bit? There. Blended those, and I'm going to put that ink to the side, and I'm going to take all the pink ones. These were bubble bath, and I'm loving a combo of bubble bath and melon mambo as my dark pink. So I'm just going to rotate that a little bit so that the purple's put to the side. And I'm grabbing the melon mambo ink, and this time we're going to blend the ink from the inside. Whoops. Just up. Not all the way up, because we want to leave the petals. I'm really loving this effect. Look at that. How pretty is that? I'm just going to do that to each of those petals. So I think normally when I do ink blending, I'm drawn to blend the same ink onto the same colored cardstock. But you've got to remember that there's no rule that says that. So you can use darker or light. You can try lighter colors. Lighter colors may not show up, but a bit of a darker color to add that to it. And you don't even have to stick with the same colors. So I could have perhaps done a purple there. Though I've got to admit, bubble bath is a bit of a purple pink. Okay, and I'm going to do something that a lot of people sometimes are scared of doing. But it's another way to soften your fibers in your cardstock and to add a bit of texture. So we're going to firstly use the bone folder both ways a few times on each of those petals. But it's going to give us a rustic look because we're going to scrunch them up as well. So these are tiny, well, compared to a big sheet of cardstock, they're small. So it's going to be a little bit harder to crush, but we'll get there. So by using the bone folder, I'm going to soften those fibers. I'm repeating myself, I'm aware. And then I'm going to take and kind of scrunch it up and open it up again. And just, it's going to create a rustic picked petal look. And just try not to rip try not to rip the little slit. But you can see it's just giving extra texture to our petals, scrunching up each one individually and then flattening it out. Opening that up. It takes a little bit of time because you do need to do them individually. But I do think that rustic look just takes that paper perfection look out of it and makes it look a little bit more realistic. And I'm going to do the same to my fresh freesia ones. So, starting with the bone folder because that'll soften the fibers first and just make the scrunching a little bit more easier and allows the scrunching not to be folded because I always had to fold them, but by softening the fibers first, the scrunching becomes more organic and less folded. Scrunch, 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 open up, scrunch, 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 open up, scrunch, open. 2 more petals after this one. hoping to join 5 of these together to form a flower. Okay, and I'm going to use mini glue dots to hold those in place, because if we use liquid glue, I'm going to have to kind of hold them together until that bond forms, and that's just going to take a lot of time, and you know, we've got lots and lots of flowers and petals to make. So I'm going to fold back one of the slits and just pick up a glue dot on the back of that slit, and then fold that over the top, and there we go. You can see from profile and because we've scrunched it, I can still kind of flatten the petal, but it's just given that little bit of extra shape. So what I might do is do all the glue dotting. So making sure that glue dot is only on one of those slits. Press it all in, that way the flowers are all, or the petals should I say, all ready to go. And the bubble bath ones as well. Oops, there's one over here. That one decided to stick over there. And I'm trying to keep them consistently on the, well, depending on which way you look at the petal, but just consistently on the same slit so that they all fold the same way. I would say glue dots are an absolute essential with this die set. So if you are interested, the paper florist dies, you would definitely need your bone folder as well as some glue dots and obviously cardstock. And then we can start placing the petals. Maybe only 4 will join together. I think I can only get 4 together nicely. 3, 4. I wonder if we can, because it is a paper florist, we'll do one pink and purple. So I have an idea. So we're going to take our little pretty center. Doesn't it look like a virus thing? You know, those images over the last couple of years. I know I'm talking silliness now. And I'm going to grab a clean sponge dauber, because I haven't got a sponge dauber for what was it? Not lost, lemon lolly. So I'm going to grab that lemon lolly ink pad and I'm going to sponge some lemon lolly just onto those spike bits, not through the whole thing. I don't know if the light's picking it up, but it's just given it some visual texture. Only got 2 of those. Got 2 of those, but then I've got this shape, so I'm just going to do the same to these. These ones we layer on to each other. Now, close that, put that to the side, and I'm going to soften with my bone folder. We want these. Hey Elfie, long time no see. How are you going? Oh. There's no lavender dye in this set. It would be so cool to make some little lavenders. And I'm going to just squish this up and unsquish it as well. Since I started that with the petals, we want to keep that rustic look. So I'm just trying to fold it up and then flatten it out. And I thought I ripped that off, but I hadn't, so that's good. And see, that'll sit nicely behind that. So I think that is a great way to layer the petals, is attaching it straight to the center, and that way you can do that. Glue dots. I'm going to add the glue dot to the top now. Oh, we've missed some here. So I'm just going to do these one by one. There. And add that to there. So not only are we putting the flowers together, we've also got the center all ready to go. Oh, come on, glue dot. So that's how I like to pick up my glue dots. I like to press my item right in. The other way to pick it up, well, I might be able to get 5 petals doing it this way as well. Yay. So the other way is you can take your pick tool and lift your glue dot and then place it down where you want it, and that gives you a little bit more visual control over where that glue dot is. So I'll do that again just to show you the different ways. I'm using my take your pick tool, got the glue dot there, now I'm placing it onto my petal. Oh, if it'll stick. Oh, come on, glue dot. So you can see I'm more practiced in pressing the petal in, and then add that. And so I do like the 5. And so there we go. Look at that. We have our flower, and if we wanted to, we could kind of squish it down to be a bit more flat. So if we were to put that on a card, that would sit more flat. It's still very textured. I mean, we've added texture, so you can't expect it to fully sit flat, but it can. I am using, Elfie, the Paper Florist dies. They're on a page, they're in the die section of the annual catalogue. I think it was a page 165. And they're a standalone die, so there's no coordinating. This one I've overlapped a bit too much, oh well. There's no coordinating stamp set, and that means that you could coordinate any stamp set you'd like to go with them. And I absolutely fell in love as soon as I saw them and couldn't wait to order them. I was a little bummed that I couldn't get them during pre-order, but they're here now, and I haven't had a chance to play, so I thought a live would be a great time to experiment and try out. I might just rip that so that I don't have that big tail. So we've got 2 large flowers, but I've got, that one's not quite as centered. Wasn't concentrating as well, but that's okay. So we've got 2 big flowers. So now let's see. The other thing I thought you could do with these ones is you could, before the center, is probably add these in as well into the big, and then have the center. But I'm going to use these as a separate flower. So we're going to do some more ink blending all the other bits, just to kind of tie it all in, because we've done it to some, and I think that'll sit much nicer. We'll do into the, oh, let's get the sponge dauber, because that's a harder space to ink blend. Where's the pink? Melon Mambo, there we go. So once I use the sponge dauber for a color, I keep it for that color, and I just type out a label and then keep them in like a little tackle storage box thing. So that's going to be from the center. Now, just so that you all know, my iPad has lost power, so I'm not going to be able to see comments for the rest of this live, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. I'm going to stick to doing the centers all with Melon Mambo, and then the purples will all be from the petal edges. This is so much fun, this set. I'm so thrilled that I was able to pull it out today. Hey, hon.
Yeah.
I need a charger, please.
Sorry.
I need a charger.
Okay.
My hubby is home this morning, so I just thought, oh, maybe I should ask him for a charger. Okay, so that's the Melon Mambo, and I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape on the purple again, and because it's the petals. Thanks, honey.
It's okay.
There's a free port there. Into the iPad. Oh, sorry. Okay. Apologies for that, but now the iPad will be able to come back up and I'll be able to see any questions. So I'm just sponging all the edges of the petals. Oh, I missed this one in Melon Mambo. There. Let's see, a few more. You don't need to re-ink your sponge dauber or your brush each time because there's a fair bit of ink on them. This one needs, and sometimes you don't want that much going on. So might want a little bit more for some darker. Well, let's do the petals first. Probably will ink the leaves as well just to keep that tonal look. So I'm just separating the pinks and the purples. And I wonder, I haven't softened these, but for the sake of speed on a video, I'm going to see if I can scrunch them up all in one go. And that should speed things up a bit. Okay, the iPad is back. I can Elfie, you were asking about the weather. The cold weather is definitely coming. It's definitely here. I'm wearing thermal leggings. Particularly the craft room, it's south facing, so for us in the southern hemisphere, north facing rooms get the all day sun, so I am feeling the cold in the craft room, so I have been wearing my thermal leggings already. So yes, I'm just gonna, so I didn't get the same amount of scrunchy look as I did with the big flowers, but these are also much smaller and harder to scrunch, and I didn't soften them beforehand, which would make it more scrunchable, because that's a word, because I said so. Anyway, so let's create some other flowers and start putting this together into a project. Okay, so I'm going to layer these. These will layer nicely on each other. So I'm going to grab a mini glue dot on the back of the small one. And then make sure I'm crisscrossing so that the petals are filling in the gaps. And then I'm going to take one of these yellow ones. Now we did sponge that one, but we haven't sponged all of them. And I strategically placed the longer ones on the longer petals, but you could do it the opposite. So let's try that opposite look on this flower. So glue dot on the back there, and onto this flower, and then glue dot here, and let's place that. So we've got same flower but different position. I don't think it really matters, but who knows, maybe you have a personal preference, so go for it. Now let's make some purple ones. Just place the little flowers on the glue dots, pick them up. Oh, the iPad died again. And I had two more. Oh, I should probably ink these. I'll ink them in the air. Or on my fingers, because you know. There, and then, ooh, there's 3 different sizes, I believe. This one, nope, 2. Where do we get? Hold on. There's 2 different flowers here. We've got this one and then this one. So we've got the 5 petal one, which that, and then we've got the 4 petal one, which again you could have layered that on as well. Oh, that would have been so pretty. Hold on. Peel that off. Add a glue dot there. I'm going to add that little cross and then have to add another glue dot onto that and that back onto there. So I've got 3 layers on that petal. Or that flower. I really, really like that. It's going to undo the others and redo that. And so I'll leave these ones. The only thing with glue dots is they do rip the cardstock because they're very tacky. In between. Let's see if I can remove that glue dot. No, it doesn't want to be removed. Just going to have an extra layer of glue dot this time. Well, not this time, as in today's session. I'm trying to place those long ones there. Just let the iPad, it's just come back up, but I'm just going to let it charge for a bit before I start seeing your comments again. But I do read them all, so you know, feel free to leave comments and I will. And if you're watching off YouTube, I will read all those comments as well. I get notifications, so don't you worry. Ask your questions and they will get answered. There. And then these ones will need new glue dots. so cute. So cute. So we've got these flowers, and then let's do these little odd flowers. And I think they will be cute. Now, there is this die, and there's a opposite one. Aha, here it is. So it cuts out 2 circles, 1, 2, 1, 2, and here are the 4 different circles you get cut out. Just bring all those bits to show you. So you can see we get that big one, and then this little dotty thing, this little one. And so you could layer these. You could layer them as so 2 stitched on each other, or you could layer a little dotty one. Like, so many different options. I'm going to layer those. Oh, hold on, no, I'm going to use the little, just going to use the little circles into the center of those, just for something different. And I've got 2 dotted ones, so I'm going to use them. So again, a glue dot, and I do find it easier to kind of position in with the take your pick tool, but I prefer pressing my item into the glue dot with my fingers. It's a handy tool. I'm just going to add some lemon lolly, glue dot. Let's see, which side did I ink? I think I inked. Oh, didn't ink that one very well. That's okay. All flowers are unique, just like people. And so are mine. Okay, so I'm going to put those to the side. Didn't need them in the end, but we will use the greenery. So we could even use some of that. We shall see. But I do want to add some blending. So I'm going to use the sponge dauber on these as well. I've got one more sponge dauber that's clean that I can allocate to Lost Lagoon. Oh, no, I'm going to use Pretty Peacock. So I have a Pretty Peacock sponge dauber somewhere. I'm just going to pull that out. So this is how I sort my sponge daubers. I used to sell sponges, and I still haven't got them out. So I've got all these old colours, old olive, shaded spruce, granny apple green, balmy blue, turquoise. Ah, there, Pretty Peacock. Found it. There. Yes, so I think Pretty Peacock and Lost Lagoon are such a great like shades of each other. Great combo together. And I'll just give those leaves that same texture that we've given our flowers, and everything will coordinate quite well together. Let's see, will the iPad, no, it's still just at 1%. I don't think it'll like me too well if I turn it on just quite yet. I'm just doing the edges. Come on, leaf. You know you want to. There's a few different types of leaves. You could use all just one kind on your project, or you can mix and match like we are today. It's really up to you. There's a real world of possibilities with this set, which I really love now. I know I haven't punched out those bits, but we can punch them out as we go. Oh, and we didn't end up using these, but I think I'm going to put it on a card, so that would be too bulky on a card. But if this was a 3D project, we could definitely use them. But you got an idea of how to use them. And you could also have blended some ink before you roll that. So that's all very exciting. Okay, we've got these sprigs. And then also we do have a punch that I think would work quite well. So I don't know, we'll do some this way and some that way with these. I think we've got enough greenery. So put that to the side. We've got our flowers, we've got our leaves. We just need our card base. I'm thinking balmy blue. What do we think? Got an open packet. I've even got a card base all cut. So that's been cut and pre-scored. Still like to burnish my fold. And now we can do some floristry work. So I'm thinking, let's add our big flowers in. Like these can be squished and they will be able to go through the post. Or you could use it for a moment where you're giving a card to someone in person. So I like to work in odd numbers. Can you see that? So I've got 2 leaves and a single leaf. That's kind of 3. Just bringing up that, and I'm going to try to leave this space blank so that I can fill that in with something else. There we go. I can now see comments again, but I'll go through them a bit later. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers at the moment. I want to make sure that's still an odd number. I am really happy with that layout right there. I am not going to change it. So I'm going to pick each flower up individually and stick it down. So to do that, I am going to start, I'm going to use the glue dots. I'm going to keep the glue dot theme. Just going to rip that tail off carefully. I could use liquid glue at this point. But I just feel sticking, I'll stick to the one adhesive. Oh, pun intended. Not too funny, sorry, terrible joke. There. So I did cut and create a little bit more than what perhaps I needed, but that's because I didn't know quite exactly what I was creating, but that's okay. That's part of experimenting and playing. And then I've got all these beautiful bits. Now I know that is hanging off the edge. That really doesn't bother me. If that does bother you, you can tuck your leaves in a bit lower down. I don't even think we need any other leaves. So I'm just flattening that down a bit. But how vibrant is that? That has texture galore. So I will grab a piece of basic white, which I pre-cut down to just under, or 5 millimeters under a quarter sheet, and that'll go inside our card. And do you know what? We could even put a flower inside the card. So I will bring out the multi-purpose liquid glue, which I discovered open on my desk. So it is potential that it's locked. Yep. That was silly me. That was opened 2 days ago. I didn't craft yesterday and I quickly made a card the day before. because a friend had a baby. And I left things open and rushed to see or to meet baby. Okay, so there, that, and I do want to add some bling or some embellishments. I'm just trying to see. That ribbon might be wonderful. Ooh, or these. Ooh, too many choices. Or this one. So these are our choices. I haven't even opened this one. I can't believe I haven't even opened this gorgeous ribbon. Just grabbing my snips. So those watching, let me know which one you think. So give me a thumbs up if you think we should use this beautiful variegated ribbon. Creates a nice big bow, and we'll tuck it somewhere in under there. So that's option one. And this one is called variegated ribbon, and it's balmy blue and white. So that's a thumbs up, please. And then we have option two is the metallic ribbon in sweet sorbet. All the ribbons would go into the same place. Like, it's a smaller look, but give me a love heart if you prefer that one. So that's a love heart for the metallic sweet sorbet. And then finally, no, let's just keep to those two, complicating things. So what do we think? The sweet sorbet, metallic ribbon, and we'll tuck it under the petals so it kind of flops out from behind the flowers. Give me a love heart if you like that, or just write sweet sorbet. That kind of complements the colours really nicely too. Or, which I untied the bow, the balmy blue, which was a thumbs up. Again, I would tuck it in, have it flopping, and it kind of matches the big boldness. Ooh, that's a hard choice. What do we think? I think everyone's having trouble deciding as well. So this one's a thumbs up. And then this one is the love heart. Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay, the thumbs have it. So that is the variegated balmy blue and white ribbon. So I've just untied that so I can tie a more accurate bow. Still want it quite big though. Let's see, so I'll tuck it in under there. So, yep, that is looking good. So I can now trim off the end there. So I like to tie my bows while it's still on the spool, and that way I can trim them where I need. So I'm going to use a glue dot. And where did my take your pick tool go? There it is, hiding. So I'm going to pick that up, and that'll allow me to tuck it. Nope, it's not wanting to stay, so I'm just going to have to tuck that in. There. That is a little bit too close to that edge, so I'm going to pick that up and move it under there. There, that's better. And now I can trim off. So this is a very big, elaborate card, but I do want to add a sentiment. Don't want it to overpower. I'm just going to see what stamp sets I could potentially use. Ooh, I could go and leave those ones, but there's a nice little happy birthday or a congratulations, I think, or in you're in my thoughts. All of those I've used the happy birthday. So what I like to do is sometimes place stamps onto my projects just to get an idea of what they may look like. I think a birthday card could work really well, and that's nice, small, simple, and not too overpowering because the flowers and the ribbon are very in your face. So I'm going to go with that. I have a small block and I'm going to stamp that. Let's see. I'm going to stamp it in Balmy Blue onto the Balmy Blue cardstock because it won't be very dark, but it'll still be stand out. There. Perfect. The other option is you could have created a little tag and then tucked it in underneath with the ribbon, but I think we've got enough elaborate and things sticking on this card that we don't need any more. I like the simplicity of stamping that there. So what do we think? Is the paper Florist Eyes on your wish list? Please let me know. And thanks so much for bearing with me and sticking through and seeing the final result. I am really excited for that card. I would love to get that in the mail. That would really make me smile for a week, don't you think? Anyone. Of course, you could put any sentiment. Thinking of you is another really lovely one, and that gives you an excuse to send it to anyone whenever you want. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next week. Bye for now.